I'm Justin, and this is a Rango of Sydney 905 filters. We just want to show you how we can actually filter really turbid water using cloths, etc. So you don't need to keep backwashing your filter. This is going to be a multi-stage video. What we've created is a double bucket system. You can either, this is the dirty water we've just scooped out of the river. Now, if you put that directly in this bucket, the top bucket, and you put the filter on, it's going to start clogging and all that in the filter. You're going to have to take the filter off. It's going to impede the flow rate. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a gauze on the top. Now, it also depends on how fine you want that. You can put a towel, you can put a sheet, you can put a piece of cloth, whatever is at your disposal, and then you can put this raw water in that. You're going to leave it for a while because you want all the sediment to eventually filter down and actually sit below the tap. So that would be the next stage after this. So we're going to get as much sediment at the top as possible with the gauze. We're going to wait for it to settle, and then we're going to actually just double refine it. We're going to put a finer weave sheet on top of this one, and then we'll let that settle again to below this tap, and then you're going to eventually put your filter on here and get water. That will help you a tremendous amount if you're pulling water, especially very turbid water from rivers and all that. You can see we put this gauze on the top. He's now scooping and pouring in the top. I'll just show you how it's working now. It's eventually going to start seeping through as he pours. So this is what you're doing. You can have a bigger weave at the top. It's really entirely up to you. You can see it starting to come through. So you're going to do this until all your raw water that you've put through here, and it's going to go in there just like a holder tank. As I say, you can even put the filter here if you want. You wait for that to all settle. A couple of hours I'm sure it'll take. Let that all settle so all the mud's below the tap. You put your filter on if you want. This bucket won't exist. You put your filter on and then you've got better water. You won't have to keep on cleaning your filter because it won't have all the sediment that's getting trapped at the top and trapped at the bottom going through your filter and your tap, which will impede the flow. So this will significantly improve the flow through your filter if you put a filter here. We're not going to do that. As I say, we're going to let this all fill up. So it's going to be a two-stage. We're going to put another finer weave cloth here, and then we're going to fill this bucket up, and then we're going to use the filter. You can already see the difference in color. This is pretty black, this water. But look at that color now. You can actually see the difference in the colors already. And that's just by using this gauze. It's still a bit of a dam at the top, but this will all eventually get through. As you can see, a big difference in color already. The raw at the bottom, kind of semi-raw at the top. Just to show you how it's going so long. See how black that is? And the color of that. Light brown. Basically black. You can see all the sediment and how it's pooling. Probably a few leaves in there. But anyhow, this is what it turns out to be. Once this is done, you're going to have to clean inside any sediment that's here. You're going to want to actually get rid of, take it out, so you can start again and keep on filling your bucket. So with that leftover sediment, you get it out, you scrape it out, whatever, then you get your next load of raw water and you let it carry on filtering through. Alright, we're back down for another load. As you can see, hell of a dirty. No one in their right mind would drink that. But if you don't have any other options, this is what you have to drink, I guess. Okay, here we got another bucket of water, as you can see. Very, very turbid, filthy in fact. And there's the difference between the two. You can obviously also see, get a better picture, how it's bulging here. All the sediments actually made this gauze start to bulge. You got to keep on clearing this. The more turbid the water, or sediment really in the water, you're going to have to keep on like getting, once it's like finished each kind of course, if I can call it that, you're going to just have to get rid of all the mud out of here. So you open up the gauze again, so you don't keep on like, it just gets more and more retarded if you don't do that, because obviously all this is now getting blocked. It should be in here. This is a process, you know, it's going to be a bit of a slow process, but it means you don't have to put that water or drink that water through the filter. This is all going to, like now, as I mentioned, settle. There'll be probably a layer of mud there. It might take a few hours for that to happen, but you can let this like system run overnight. And then in the morning, you've got nice or cleaner water that can go through your tap. And again, with a two-stage system like this, you can put it through another gauze, a finer weave gauze, and then again, you know, leave that, then put that through your filter. Then you'll have a good flow rate through your filter, and you won't have to keep on backwashing it or anything along those lines, because it won't choke up those filtration pores. So yes, a bit of a trade-off, but you're not having to put that water through the filter, which will retard and cake on those fibers, because you've got to remember, 0.1 of a micron, there's 700 filtration pores and a width of a human hair. Now with our purifiers at 0.01, there's 7,000 filtration pores and a width of a human hair. And any of that sediment will just start to cake and block on those filtration pores. So it'll eventually, like, your filter won't work under a gravity system. The integrity of the fibers are still fine, but now they're all blocked with all the sediment caking on it. So just give it a little whirl, speed it up a bit, you know, whirl it around a bit, speeds up the flow. You just leave it overnight, and in the morning you'll have a bucket of a lot cleaner water than that. This is our pool of almost very, very dark water, dirty water, leaves in it, and this is what's happening, coming through that gauze. So you could already see, you could even put a double layer of gauze on if you wanted, but then it's going to be a lot slower. So we put like a single layer of gauze. As I say, you can put a t-shirt, you can put a sheet, you can put a towel. It's just whatever you want to put, just to sift out as much of that dirty mud sediment in the first round of filtration before you put it through another system or the filter. We've actually left the water overnight now. I'd just like to show you again that color of the water. I'll show you exactly what sediment has been trapped. All this muck would have been on the filter, slowing everything down. You can just see that was out of that water, and now we've got that water, which is a lot better. We're gonna like take this off, and we could either use the filter, as I say, right here. We could put an extension on to increase the head of water. What we're actually going to do is put another cloth on the top, a fine weave cloth, and see if we get a better improvement on this. But let me just show you underneath this bucket. You can see there's a faint dark line. That's where all the sediment that has got through, smaller sediment that was blocked there off the top, that got through and has actually over time settled on the base. But that's at the bottom of the bucket now. Still all the sediment. Now, if you had like rushed and put that through, that still would have got onto the membranes and started to impede the flow. But now that's settled, so we've got a good option here. We've got a good bit of raw water, which was a hell of a lot better than what we started with. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach a filter now and just run it through and just show you the clarity of this water going through. Okay, I've attached the filter to this bucket now. I just want to show you the clarity of the water. Remember, going from this to this, collecting all that to this. And now let's just have a look at the clarity of the water. There's a bit of a slower flow, but you can see already the clarity of the water. We've got a small head of pressure, only about 30 centimeters from the top of the water, top of the filter. And this is what we've got so far. So great. Alright, we've set up the second bucket. We're obviously going to pass all this water through, let it collect into the second bucket, however long it takes. You're not going to really have a lot of water because we've only got really from there to there to go, and that'll be in that bucket. But yeah, let's see how it goes, and then we'll put that through the filter tomorrow. There won't be a great head of pressure, but we can at least check the clarity of it. Bit of a difference already. We'll also see what happens after this water settles as well. Right, so we went from the top bucket with that gauze on to the bottom bucket with a tighter weave cloth, and we started with this. We've got this now. So this was the double bucket system. You don't need to do that. This is overkill. But we're going to now move this lower bucket to the top position, and we'll do some filtering. Move that bucket up now. Just want to show you that even more sediment has settled on the bottom of this bucket. I've attached the filter, so let's give it a crank. Nice clean water. Remember, it is a fairly slow rate, but it's because you've only got this small head of pressure from there to there. But you're getting clean and safe water at the end of the day. So put a bucket under here, walk away, and go and do whatever you have to do. By the time you get back, you've got a nice bucket full of clean and safe water. Just notice this flow rate with this head of pressure. I'm going to actually put a pipe on here now, extend it, probably about 3/4 of a meter pipe, and you'll see the improved flow rate because now we're extending the head of pressure by 3/4 of a meter, basically the length of the pipe. I've hooked up this little pipe now just to see the head of pressure. A little bit quicker, but that's a little trick to it. Increase that head of pressure.